Hey everyone, Robert Silver here, and in this video I want to share with you how my 5-in-1 reflector saved my photo shoot. So recently I had a test shoot with Cassidy Smith, a new face model over at Scout Model Agency, which is based in downtown San Francisco. Now, what had happened was I thought I planned for what I knew I was going to encounter on a shoot. But of course, as you should know, and as I continuously learn, is Murphy's Law always plays a role in your photo shoot. We were shooting in downtown San Francisco in the Embarcadero area, if you've ever been there. And it's a beautiful area. It was a picture perfect day in terms of weather. In San Francisco, it was actually pretty warm, I think above 70 degrees. It was great. Now, when we got there, the sun was directly above us. And if you shoot on Embarcadero, you're not going to be bringing the flash and everything else, because a lot of times the security somewhere comes out and tells you you can't be setting up a professional commercial looking shoot. And usually if you have a single tripod light or anything like that, as soon as it has a stand, it's considered like a commercial shoot. You got to get all sorts of permits and everything to shoot there. So I always usually shoot natural light whenever I shoot on Embarcadero, because then you just won't get bothered. So with that said, I showed up with just 2 lenses, which I wanted to shoot with, and 1 camera. I knew that would be enough, which was my Lumix S5 as a camera, and then I had the Sigma 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 lens, and then the Sigma 85 millimeter f1.4 art lens as well. And that right there, I knew I could take care of any test shoot that I have. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna travel nice and light. It's a beautiful day. I don't wanna be bogged down by a whole bunch of heavy gear. Got my makeup artist, we drive out there. I realized it is so picture perfect, it's almost not perfect, meaning the sun was right overhead and it's gonna cast hard lighting. And me and the makeup artist met up about 30 to 45 minutes prior to the model showing up. So that was about 2:15. We're supposed to meet up at 3 o'clock. And then I'm hoping by 3, the sun comes out just a little bit more. But of course, it stayed nice and bright, and it was a gorgeous day out, quite honestly. And then the model arrived, and then we got her ready. Thankfully, that took a little bit of time, so it was closer to more like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and the sun was better. Now, being that I didn't have a flash, there wasn't really anything else I could do except use the lighting of the environment in the space that we're shooting to light my subject, or to creatively work around the highlights and the shadows in the environment. Now, what happened was I did need some lighting, because I need some extra lighting. Now, because I wanted to backlight her a few times, but technically, if you have a camera that has decent dynamic range, you could, in post, raise up the shadows and lower the highlights and the whites or whatever later on in post if you're shooting raw. In my mind, I already knew I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get as close as I can to right in camera. And for me to do that, usually I would have a flash in front of the model, just as an example, and then I would have her backlit with the sun, and then there you go. I would balance it to light sources, the natural and the artificial lighting, to get it very close to perfect exposure, with minor adjustments later on in Lightroom or something. But in this case, I couldn't have that flash. So that's where my trusty Neewer, it's a 43-inch, this is not a shout out to Neewer or anything, it's just what I have, 43-inch 5-in-1 reflector saved the day. So let's go look at some of the photos that I've already edited. And these are photos that the agency already chose. They chose these pictures, and I edited it and already delivered it to them last week. I just felt like how impressed I was with the 5-in-1 reflector and what it did for my photo shoot, that I want to share this experience with you guys, and hopefully you could learn something from my experience. And this is this is my 5-in-1 reflector right here. It's been beat up. I've had it for 8 years, I think. You know, but for $29, it saved the day. I used the white reflective material, And that produced some gorgeous natural looking lighting. And then when you take out the, when you take it out, like I'm gonna try to do right now, you can see there's translucent in the middle. And if you use this and have the sun shoot through it, now you have the most gorgeous soft light on your subject. And I'm gonna show you examples of that right now. So here we are inside of Lightroom. And these are the photos that I took. 1, 2, right? These are all of Cassidy. I'll leave the link down below for you to go check her out on Instagram if you want to work with her. Probably best if you reach out to her agency, but you could try inboxing her too. So here's another one. These are all natural lit photos. None of these are, none of these have been shot with a flash or anything. Here we go. A natural, you can see here, backlit here. Here's another one. Here's the other one. This is Pier 7 in downtown San Francisco, if you've ever been there. This is over by the Exploratorium. So, okay. So I just wanted to show you real quick these photos. Now let's go back to the beginning. And I want to explain each one. So this first one was really simple because I saw how bright or harsh and very direct the sun was in terms of the lighting. And I knew what kind of shadows it's going to create on my subject's face. So I chose a location by Pier 7, but it's behind, we went behind the building where the sun was on the other side and thus cast such a soft, beautiful light in this whole area where I knew I was going to get the most gorgeous natural light. So this was our first look and I was like, okay, let's warm up. We've never shot together. So I was like, okay, let's use this space to kind of get to know each other and check out each other's creative chemistry. This was a beautiful shot. I shot this with the 85mm f1.4 Sigma lens, as you can see, again with the S5, and nailed it. Beautiful. Loved it. And this was a gorgeous shot right here. But you can see how even the lighting is. It's very beautiful here. And the building is to my camera left over here. So you can see it has a slight shadow here because it's a little bit darker than the sky that's over here. There is a sky over there, believe it or not. Next shot, same location, just with the jacket off. And you can see how the natural light is just gorgeous. Location hunting is so important and being creative to understand what the light is doing and the characteristics of that lighting in the location that you're choosing. And hopefully that is in line with the emotion and feel and the story you're trying to tell in your portraits. So we wanted a nice, soft, natural lit portrait session. That's what her agency wanted. So you can see here, again with the 85mm, this is at 1.4. And I shot mostly at 1.4 because I honestly want to test out the Sigma shooting wide open and seeing how reliable it was, and as well as the S5's autofocus, and just seeing how, you know, how well they work together and whether I was going to nail a shot. Because I normally shoot like f4, stuff like that, just to be on the safe side, regardless of the lens, just to give me some latitude in terms of depth of field and making sure my portrait's sharp and focused. But today, the 85 was on a roll. I mean, it was seriously on a roll. It's nailing all these shots. And I love the separation it's giving me here. Aside from the color, it's giving me beautiful separation with the bokeh in the back and everything. So again, totally natural, nothing else, no reflector, nothing else going on here. And then we have the next shot, same thing, different angle, just kind of got in a little bit closer and then had her look a particular way. But again, because there's less light bouncing off of the building on camera left, it is creating a little bit of some sort of shadow here. But it is bouncing light, so it is filling it in, but it's more like a fill light versus what you see coming from camera right, which is definitely more of a key light kind of a situation going on, right? You see it's much brighter on this side. So like I said, in this scene, we honestly didn't need any extra additional light, but just creativity and just kept shooting. So here we are again with the 85 opened at 1.4. And this shot is slightly soft. No, is it? It's slightly, yeah, I can tell. Just a little bit. It's not as sharp as the last one. So here we are. I do love the composition of it. Hair looks good. Everything looks good. I even like the reflections going on in the back. That wasn't planned. It's just a cruise ship thing that like hasn't moved since before COVID. But anyway, the contrast created from the window and her clothing is really awesome. I really like that. I think that's what adds to the composition and the appeal of this photo. And ironically, the lines all point to her. I didn't really see that until just now. See, all these lines just kind of draw you in to her. So you have some leading line action going on too. So again, no extra additional light, right? This is just all natural light hitting her eyes. That's a sky right there. This is where I knew I was going to get into trouble. So we changed, redid her makeup. And in this location, the sun is coming down. It's hitting more toward golden hour. But it is still very harsh just because there's nothing blocking the sun, nothing to diffuse it or anything like that. Like the last scene, we're behind a building, so we were in some gorgeous looking shade. But in this case, we wanted to shoot right on Pier 7, which is an iconic location, but I knew that the lighting would be very harsh regardless until the very last minute where the sun is completely gone. So I decided to bring my 5-in-1 reflector to this location. Now I have two 5-in-1 reflectors. One stays always inside of my flash lighting kit and one always stays in my trunk of my car. For $29, it's worth just having one staying in your car always. Done. So therefore you always have it on you. And it's a great way to manipulate and adjust the lighting and modify the lighting to your needs. So here we are. Here's the first look. This is what I really like. It looks very more casual, and it was. She wasn't really ready, right? But it did come out really nice. Shooting wide open again with the 85. And this is not a commercial for the 85. It just so happens that her agent chose all these photos that happen to have been mostly shot with the 85. But I did shoot plenty of photos with the 24-70. So it's just ironic. It just worked out that way. So here we are. You can see it's clearly backlit. Gorgeous backlighting. I mean, I love it when it's golden like that. See that? And it brings out the highlights in her hair. This is like picture perfect. So much so that we're getting a little lens flare action. You see that little lens flare there? That's what that is. But the photo's hot. Agency liked it. I liked it. Model liked it. So sometimes it is what it is, you know? In this case, I would have perhaps may have used a flash if I was able to, but what I did here is I had my makeup artist who is just hanging out and making sure makeup, you know, stays correct. I put the 5-in-1 reflector in her hand, and since this thing only weighs a few ounces, it's not going to blow her over or anything. And I used the white reflective because now the reason why I used a white reflective and not the silver is because, first of all, silver multiplies the light. And also it can be very warm, and that was a very warm day. Therefore, it's going to make my model even hotter than she needs to be. And she's already wearing a sweater and it's like almost 80 degrees out. And on top of it, if that silver hits directly in the retina of the eye, it could really damage your model, your subject's eye. So you got to be very careful. So in this case, I flipped it to white and it was gorgeous. I just used the simple white reflector like this here and bounced it in the same way that I would have if it was a silver, but it was a nice spread of soft light. So the sun came in from the back, from behind her. If you look, came in from behind her, hit the reflector, which was camera left, backed right into her face, and boom, gorgeous lighting. You wouldn't even know when using the reflector properly that an extra light like a bounce fill was even there. It looks gorgeous. I barely had to do any retouching or touching up rather later because the exposure was very evenly lit, meaning the back of the subject and the foreground of the subject. And again, that's because of the 5-in-1 reflector. As soon as I saw a photo like this, I said, all right, we're going to keep using this as an additional light source. It's not technically a light source. It's a light modifier. It's a bounce, but I'm going to use it to manipulate the light that I have in the scenes. So we kept it around. Now this next shot here, I did the same thing. Camera left, bounced it back. That's a little bit of a fill. You're not going to see it as much here because in the previous shot, we had it much closer to the model. But still, again, we did use it camera left. And again, this is the 85mm with the S5. And I love it. The backlight just sets her hair on fire. It's really gorgeous. And when you do have a busy background, like I do here, believe it or not, and people are walking around, shooting shallow depth of field is going to help separate your subject and really draw the attention. You see here, I have leading lines, right? You do all these things in a busy environment to really draw and command the attention of the viewer. And I think it worked out here really well. Okay. When it comes to posing, I always try to create lines. You see a line here. You see even in line here, see her elbows not touching her side. And then you see she's leaning on this side of her hip, which adds curve, but then relaxes this leg and creates another line. You don't want both legs locked unless it's something in particular that you're doing. But in general, it's more flattering to add lines and curves whenever you can. Okay. So anywho, that's a whole nother video. So we put her up here, and this one we definitely used a bounce. Matter of fact, let me see if I have this other photo. All right. So this one was the actual one that the agency chose, but you can see clearly my, where is it? Here we go. My, makeup artist was holding the white reflector. See right here? She was bouncing the white reflector, lower camera right, and hitting the model. You can see it bouncing right there. You can see it right in her eyes. Okay. But then I realized after a few shots, I was like, oh my God, these photos are awesome. And then all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, you're in the damn photo. So I moved her over and I didn't deliver this one to the agency because, I want to only deliver the best of the best. You know, your photos are your calling card. So I took that out and I replaced it with this one. And this one's a nice clean shot, still same kind of composition and feel. And then I moved the bounce camera left. Okay. So you can see it right here, right there, and right there is the reflector. But it lights her up perfectly. I still have, even though her face is nice and lit, it gave some great bounce and added, make sure I didn't lose detail in the black sweater of the model. She looks evenly lit. Background is gorgeous. Boom, bada bing. Now we switched outfits. Sun is coming down now here. Okay. This is the last outfit of the photo shoot. And, we're over by the exploratorium right in front there. There's cool geometric shapes and all sorts of stuff over there. And I was like, oh, let's play around with that because of her little leopard zebra pants or whatever. So, did we use a reflector? I don't think we use a reflector here. I don't see it in our eyes. Right? I don't see it in her eyes. Also, when using a reflector, it's good that like when you do have that direct light, because then you have a way to bounce it, right? You want it to be able to manipulate that. In this case, the sun was behind, I think, some clouds by then. And you can see it's a little bit overcast here. And it just didn't, I just felt like it didn't need it. The exposure looked good. The next one, this was a money shot. Right on Embarcadero, there was a ledge. I was like, I looked at it. I looked at her. I said, and it's about, 4 feet higher. So I was like, hey, you mind hopping up there on this window ledge? I think I can get an awesome shot. Again, with the 85mm, opened at 1.4. This was direct as it can get. Not only that, the ledge was all basically white. So you have the direct sunlight, very harsh. Then the environment is a white painted brick, and therefore it's reflecting its own light. So it's just a light and light and light. And I'm shooting wide open at 1.4. And I didn't have an ND filter and I didn't have a polarizer. So I'm just asking for trouble. I was like, you know what? Maybe this could be a cool, hard contrast light. And then I took one or two. I was like, all right, I'm really not feeling it. And then I unzipped my 5-in-1 reflector, right? And I used this inside, this translucent, the translucent part of the 5-in-1 reflector. And it's going to knock it down a good couple of stops, right? If you're shooting through it. So I had the makeup artist hold it camera right, as you can see. Matter of fact, if you look closely, you you could see the edge right here, you know, of the shadow or whatnot. I think that's it right there. But either way, had the model sit on a ledge. I got up on my tippy toes with the S5 and the 85 millimeter. And she just literally held it perpendicular to the model, parallel to the model. And so therefore the sun was literally shooting directly through the translucent, and it gave me such gorgeous, beautiful, soft lighting. It looks like window lighting. It was fantastic. So with that said, that's what literally made this photo amazing. I couldn't believe it when I pulled it off. This is gorgeous lighting. And you can see right here, right there in her eyes. Look, nailed it. Super sharp. Right there and right there. That is the reflector in her eyes. It saved the day. This saved the shoot. This shot I love. I love the depth that it's being created. With the depth of field at 1.4, totally obliterating the busy background. There's a bunch of tourists and everybody walking down Embarcadero in San Francisco. She came in nice and sharp, and her priority is her eyes, right? So I thought that was really, really good. And the contrast between the dark colors of her outfit, her hair, you know, shirt, jacket, and pants, contrasting with the brightness of the background, makes her pop even more. It makes it very dimensional. Now, second to last shot. Again here. The sun here it's almost set. It's almost set in this shot. But I had it camera left, right where the sun was coming down, and added the shoot through the translucent part of the reflector. And this is what we got. A nice, beautiful lit. Because what was happening is in this shot, it was actually very hard. It was very hard. Okay, you can see the sun reflection here. It was sunset, but at the same time, being that there were no shade or shadows or anything, like no trees, it was very direct and very harsh. So immediately use a translucent, put it right camera left, and created a shadow. That's the beautiful part. With the translucent, you're creating a soft shadow. It's not even just a shoot through. It creates a soft shadow. And that's literally how we got this lighting. This lighting is not, wasn't there. It wasn't like that without the, transparent part of the 5-in-1 reflector. And the last shot, which I knew at this point, we got it. We are done. We got the photos. I was very confidently, at a point where I knew the agency would like the collection of photos we got. But this was the last one. I wanted to get it. Again, you can see how hard the lighting was. This is without the translucent 5-in-1 reflector. It was very bright. It would have been a very hard, almost like split lighting if you understand that technique. And if you don't, I'll leave a card above for my video on split lighting. It would have created that very deep, dark, hard shadows and contrast would have been created under her chin, the black of her jacket. It would have just been all bad, unless that's what you were going for. But that's how bright it was. We used the translucent side, again, using it as a shoot through, and the sun being the light source. The makeup artist is holding it right over here, camera right. And then I'm using the 85 millimeter again. And then we shot, and then I just took my photos and bam, nailed it. Solid, super sharp. And you can see here, and you can see right there. That's the umbrella. And I'm sure if we got even closer, you know, we might even see the makeup artist. I don't know. But either way, that's what we got, 1 and 2. None of these photos I brought into Photoshop. These were all edited and corrected inside of Lightroom. And I started all these edits with my preset, which is here, I'll show you right here. It's called Crispy Clean. I started off with Crispy Clean, which is a nice, sharp, and colorful, like a baseline edit. And then I adjusted accordingly. And that's how I did it. And I used my preset on all of these photos and adjusted a little bit more because depending on the exposure of each frame. You're going to have to adjust whenever you use a preset. And you can check out my preset collection for yourself by clicking the link down below. And you can check out the before and after sliders and everything. And right now I'm offering my 12 presets in this Fashion Photography Volume 1 preset collection for 25% off. As I said, and I hope you can see how well the 5-in-1 reflector works when used right, and it saved my photo shoot, and I'm hoping it may save you. I don't know. If you do have a 5-in-1 reflector, do you have any stories you would like to share about how it saved or improved your photography? Let me know. Post the comments down below. Of course, I'll leave a link for you to check out the 5-in-1 reflector that I own personally on Amazon. And if you don't have one, you need to get one. Outside of that, like I said, I only bought 2 lenses and 1 camera for this photo shoot. And with some creativity, bounce, and shoot through lighting with the 5-in-1 reflector and a little bit of patience, you can knock out some dope looking shoots regardless of the lighting conditions that you happen to be in. Just takes a little bit of creativity. With all that said, I really appreciate you hanging in there. If you are by the end of this video, thank you very much. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, post them down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, don't forget to press that like, share, and of course, subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notifications of upcoming videos. I'm Robin Silver, and until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.